Would you pray with me? Now, Lord, grant that the words of my mouth and the meditations of our hearts might be acceptable in your sight, O Lord, our rock and our Redeemer. Amen. Are any of you changing anything for Friday night? That was the question that began the text chain among a group of pastors I'm friends with this past Tuesday. Anyone going virtual? Somebody texted. My people will revolt, another responded. The text continued through the week. 5 choir members tested positive today, a friend shared. We had to pull the planned Christmas Eve service, reassemble with new music. One of my associates is now out with COVID, another offered, ugh. And then amid the flurry of those messages came this. I hope we can all hang in there. People need this week. Remember your calling and do the good that is yours to do, and God will smile. People need this week. People need this night. Those words cut straight to my heart. God knows I need this night, don't you? We need to sing the songs. We need to hear the story. We need to light the candles. We need to celebrate the birth of the one who is Emmanuel, God with us. And he is God with us through it all, wherever we are. And when have we needed God more than now? We need to hear the Christmas story about that Holy Family seeking shelter, for whom there was no room at the inn. You know, the innkeeper is always portrayed as a bad guy, but what if he wasn't? What if he's gotten a bad rap in all the Christmas pageants through the years? What if he actually went the extra mile for Mary and Joseph, trying to make space for that family in need? What if his response wasn't, no room? What if it was, I am so sorry, but we are fully booked? I tell you what, we have a stable across the street. We can make a nice space over there, get you some blankets, a warm meal, a safe place to sleep. Would that be okay? We need to hear the story about making space for God in the midst of our frantic lives, lived at such a fevered pitch. Tonight, some of our disciples are spending their Christmas Eve in the outreach center across the street. It's a little nicer than a stable, but they're making some room at the inn for our neighbors who have no place to call home. We host folks every Thursday night, every week, from the end of November through March. But tonight we opened up for an additional night thanks to those disciples, and some of our neighbors are worshiping with us here this evening. There is room at the inn. What a blessing. What a holy night. God knows we need this Christmas compassion tonight. In a world filled with so much fear, we need this night. Amid the fear of this blasted virus, fear of what the future holds, fear of who might hold it, fear of one another, we need to hear the angel Gabriel's words to Mary at the Annunciation when he told her about God's plan for her to have a child. You remember what he said? Don't be afraid. We need to remember Gabriel's words to Joseph when he found out that Mary was pregnant and resolved to divorce her quietly. You remember what he told Joseph? Don't be afraid. We need to hear the Christmas angel's first words to the shepherds keeping watch over their flock by night. Don't be afraid. A friend shared with me the story of her young son. They were decorating for Christmas, putting out the manger scene, and her son was pulling out the animals for the scene. He pulled out the cow, and he said, "The cow says, moo." And then he reached in and he pulled out the sheep, set them up. The sheep says, bah. And then he pulled out the angel and set her up atop the crest and said, the angel says, don't be afraid. We need this Christmas courage tonight, don't we? In a world with way too much sadness, we need this night of joy. This week in our city, a 33-year-old police officer, mother of 3 young children, married to a firefighter, both civil servants, she was killed in the line of duty trying to direct traffic around an accident on I-85. Too many headlines bring tears to our eyes. We need to hear the angels who bring glad tidings of great joy for all people. Now, this isn't a don't worry, be happy platitude that calls us to ignore the pain of the world, to stick our heads in the sand and ignore the world's harsh realities. Now, Christmas is about something so much deeper than being happy. It's about joy. In his book of Joy, Desmond Tutu writes, discovering more joy does not save us from the inevitability of hardships and heartbreaks. In fact, we may cry more easily, but we will laugh more easily too. Tutu continues, perhaps we're just more alive. And yet, as we discover more joy, we can face suffering in a way that ennobles rather than embitters. We have hardship without becoming hard. We have heartbreak without being broken. Our heartbroken world needs the joy of Christmas tonight more than ever. In our factious world filled with so much self-righteous anger, where too many leaders prey upon our fears and fuel our divides with that anger, we need to hear the angel's proclamation, peace on earth, goodwill to all. There is so much anger in our society right now. There's anger about vaccines, anger about anti-vaxxers, anger about mask mandates, anger about people who refuse to wear masks, anger about cancel culture, anger that fuels cancel culture, anger on airplanes, anger on roadways. In a recent poll, in response to the question, thinking about the way things are going in the country today, how would you say you are? And 74% of Americans describe themselves as angry. Amid all this anger, God knows we need to hear the angel's proclamation of peace. We need the peace of Christmas this night. With the shepherds, we need to come and behold this wonderful thing. With the wise men, we need to kneel down and pay him homage and offer our gifts. With Mary, we need to treasure all this in our hearts and hold this baby in our arms and look intently into his eyes and see God's amazing love for us and God's amazing love for them, and see that in him there is no longer us or them, but only we. We need this night. We need compassion. We need courage. We need joy. We need peace. We need to hold this baby tight in our hearts tonight. We need this bread of life. We need this cup of salvation. Even if it's offered in a stinking sterilized little cup, we need it. We need to do all of this in remembrance of him. We need to be saved. That's why we need this night. God knows that's why we need Christmas. So, beloved, let us sing the songs, and let us live the story, and let us light the candles, and let our light so shine before all that God's glory might be known and the darkness banished. Remember your calling. Do the good that is yours to do, and God will smile. God knows this Christmas Eve, the whole world needs this. Amen.